Allow me to say it again, in hopes that it will finally be understood. Macedonia was never Greek. Greece, however, was Macedonian at one point in history. Let me elaborate. It is well known that a Greek state never existed before 1829. The ancient city-states were conquered by Philip II, king of Macedonia, in 338 BC, and were never united into a single nation until the creation of the Greek kingdom in 1832. Was it not the Macedonians who conquered the ancient city-states? How then can ancient Macedonia be Greek? While Philip II was recovering from battle wounds, the city-states to the south were making alliances and amassing a great army to invade Macedonia. On hearing this, Philip decided it was time to meet this aggression head-on and end the treachery once and for all. In 338 BC, in the shallow Zaphis or river valley near the village of Chaeronea on the road to Thebes, the two opposing armies met face to face. On the north side stood Philip's Macedonians with 30,000 infantry and 2,000 cavalry, the largest Macedonian army ever assembled. Among Philip's commanding generals was his 18-year-old son, Alexander, in charge of the cavalry. On the south side stood the allied Athenians, Thebans, and Achaeans, who assembled 35,000 infantry and 2,000 cavalry, the largest army ever assembled since the Persian invasion. Closely matched, the armies clashed, and while the battle ensued, the Macedonian right flank fell back and began to retreat. Seeing the Macedonians weakening, the allied city-state general gave orders to push on and drive the Macedonians back to Macedonia. As the Macedonians retreated, the allied flanks broke rank and began the pursuit. Not realizing it was a trick, the Allies found themselves surrounded and slaughtered by Alexander's cavalry. When it was over, the majority of the allied army, including the elite Theban sacred band, lay dead in the fields of Chaeronea. Philip erected a statue of a lion to commemorate the sacrifice of the Theban sacred band, which upheld its tradition and fought to the last man. Ancient city-state and Roman historians consider the Battle of Chaeronea as the end of city-state liberty, history, and civilization. The entire world, except for the want-to-be Greeks, knows the truth of what happened on that fateful day in history, from which the city-states never recovered until the 18th and 19th century, when a number of Philhellenes decided to conduct an experiment by artificially resurrecting this ancient world. So, I repeat, Macedonia historically was never Greek. Part of Macedonia, 51% to be more precise, became Greek when Greece, Serbia, and Bulgaria invaded Macedonia. Under the pretense of liberating it, drove the Ottomans out with the help of the Macedonian people, then occupied it, partitioned it, and annexed it for themselves. When the Greek army invaded Macedonia, Macedonia was not empty and devoid of people. There were people living there. These people were indigenous to Macedonia. The vast majority were ethnic Macedonians. So, allow me to summarize. The so-called ancient Greeks along with the ancient city-states disappeared some 2,000 years ago, but the idea of ancient Greece was artificially resurrected by the Philhellenes and became an artificial reality after the creation of the modern Greek state in the 1830s. The people that lived on the lands that we today call Greece were not Greeks at all. They were ethnic Albanians, Macedonians, blacks, Turks, etc., who had migrated to the region over many centuries. If there is any trace of so-called ancient Greek in these people, it is so minute, it is negligible. The so-called modern Greeks are the inheritors of these Greek lands only because they have been living on those lands for at least 4 centuries. according to the history of mass migrations in the region. Their only association with the ancients is that they happened to occupy the same land over different times. The modern Greeks, having never lived in Macedonia, cannot possibly be the rightful inheritors of Macedonian lands, let alone of the Macedonian heritage. That privilege belongs to the Macedonian people, who are indigenous to Macedonia, and not to the Greeks, Serbians, or Bulgarians, who acquired Macedonian lands illegally in 1912-1913, by an act of war, and against the will of the Macedonian people. When the Greeks, Serbs, and Bulgarians came to Macedonia, in 1912, they found people living there. These people are the ancestors of today's ethnic Macedonians, the real Macedonians. Many of these Macedonians were exiled and assimilated, but many also went underground, and remained Macedonian in spite of Greek attempts to eradicate them. So to finish up, when a Greek tells you Macedonia is Greek, what he or she really means is that Macedonia has been taken, stolen from the Macedonian people by force, and it is now Greek. If they truly loved Macedonia, then surely they would be saying, Macedonia belongs to the Macedonians, or Macedonia, for the Macedonians. How many Macedonian-loving Greeks have you heard say that?